Welcome back to M.A.D Detailing. Today we have something that's just a little bit different. Usually we're doing cars, trucks, SUV, vans, something along those lines, but today we actually have a boat, and this thing is just covered in mold and filth. There's leaves, there's dirt. We even found a few worms in it, which I don't know how they managed to get inside of the boat, but it is what it is. This boat is actually a neighbor of ours. It's been sitting outside for, I don't even know, years at least. So he brought it to us to see what we could do to it. And to be quite honest, when we first seen it, we thought it was just a little bit too far gone. But what the work we actually did to this ended up paying off. So make sure you stick around to the end to see what this boat looks like once it's finished. To start this boat off before we wash it, we're going to go ahead and remove all these leaves, the dirt, the plants that are growing in here. Go ahead and remove them all by hand before coming back through with the vacuum and vacuuming up everything that we couldn't get, simply so it doesn't clog up the drain and we're not blowing a bunch of leaves all over the parking lot outside. For the first initial rinse down for this boat, we will be using our APC, and this is just going to help to break up a lot of the mold and algae that's on this boat before blasting it with the pressure washer to remove most of it. And as you can see, it's leaving behind like these brown dots, and I will talk about them a little bit more once it plays out to it and let you know what we did and what we tried and what worked and what didn't work. So with all the looser mold and algae gone, we can now try to mess with these brown dots. From our past experiences working with boats, we have found out that a mixture of 50% bleach and 50% water usually works pretty well on these. So we went ahead and tried that and then scrubbed it with a scrub brush. And as you can see, it worked a little bit, but it's not perfect. So we're going to jump onto the other side, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about what we did on that side. So after seeing what kind of job the bleach did, we went ahead and decided to try some acid. So we used the same process, spray it on there, scrub it, and the results we got were kind of the same, maybe a little bit darker on the acid side, but that's all right because we're still going to use acid on this boat. We will be using it on the lower part of the boat where there's a lot of yellow oxidation from it being in the water so long. A lot of boats have this, and a lot of people buff it off, but we found that acid actually works the best. It just eats it right off of the bottom side of the boat and leaves a nice white finish. So that's where we will be using the acid, and we will be using bleach on the rest of the outside of the boat and on the interior of the boat. For the inside of the boat, you'll notice that I am using a regular garden hose instead of a pressure washer. This is simply because I didn't want bleach all over my clothes and ruining my nice work clothes. So for these cushions, we just used a greaser and a detail brush simply because these were garage kept. They weren't out getting abused by the elements like the rest of the cushions. So therefore, they didn't need as harsh of a treatment. So now that the boat is dry, we can actually start buffing on it. So what we're using here is a rotary mixed with a wool pad and then paired up with some heavy cut compound. And we chose heavy cut because there's layers upon layers of oxidation on this boat. And also because we wanted to try to get those etching marks out. What I mean by etching marks are those little brown spots that we seen earlier in the wash and we're trying to get out with bleach. Those things have actually turned out to be etched into the gel coat. So here we're trying to buff out the oxidation and get those out as well. And I will keep you posted later on in the video. I'll talk about how we got them out and what we did to get them out. So as we were doing this section of the boat, we were actually finishing up for the night. And right as we were about to leave, we got slapped with the idea of, hey, let's throw some sandpaper on this boat, see if we can't get those etching marks out. So that's what we did. We tested out a little section on the boat. It actually ended up taking them out really, really easily. So from there, we just sanded the whole boat. Top, bottom, inside, outside, everything. Sanded all of it. And then came back through and had to rebuff everything that we had already done. But it ended up being worth it in the end because the boat looked that much better at the end. So now that we rebuffed the whole boat and got all the sanding marks out, we're going to come back through with HD Speed, which is a glaze and a polish pad. And we're going to take a lot of the marring that the wool pad put in there. We're going to take a lot of that out, as well as adding a layer of protection. So this boat will be protected for up to 6 months until it will need another layer of wax. And we did this to lock in the shine, and we didn't want to give the customer back a boat that was super shiny, but didn't have a lick of layer of protection on it. So sealing the paint was our last step. Here are some before and after shots of this boat. The transformation on this thing is absolutely insane. We personally didn't think we were going to be able to get it this good, but man, are we glad we tried, because it looks awesome. The seats still have a little bit of fading, but unfortunately there's nothing we can do with that. Same goes for the sticker pack that's on it. But other than that, this boat is just about flawless, and it is ready to return back to its new home. So with that being said, make sure you like and subscribe if you have not done so already, and leave down in the comments your favorite part of this video. We always love to hear what y'all think's the best part. And make sure you stay tuned till the very end, because we do have a customer reaction waiting on you.
Wow. Oh my God, this thing was like a tree when we sent it in here. Wow, guys. This is amazing. Wow. Not a stain in sight. Look at this thing. Very crazy. Very cool. Very clean. Didn't think you could get this clean. Very nice, guys. I appreciate it. This is amazing. When this came in, it looked like seaweed with trees growing out of it. Wow, so smooth too. I'm over here mess up my paint touching it. Man, you guys did great. This is great. This is amazing.